What's going on, cool betters? Pat Gregoire here with Kris Abbott. It is finally here. Super Bowl 55 weekend is upon us. We're still a couple of days away from the big game itself, but Kris, how are you doing? I know you've been all dialed in on hockey as of late, but we got to go back to football just for one more week. Got to be pretty pumped for Super Bowl 55, though, right?
I am, yeah. I mean, I feel like I've been cheating on the NFL a little bit. We're so heavy into it, but I mean, with just one or two games a week since the NFL or the NHL started, I've been able to kind of manage both, and it's really exciting. The Super Bowl is finally here. I don't think we could have had a more exciting matchup, storyline wise, with Patrick Mahomes against Tom Brady, Andy Reid against Bruce Arians, Tampa being the first team to play at home. So yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to delving into some of Cool Bet's like 650 betting markets. Although by the time people head to the site, there's going to be more there because we've like doubled in the last day or so. It's unbelievable. You can bet everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. Every single day I go back to check what I like, what I'm going to sprinkle on, and there's a new bet that pops up that just catches my eye. And like you said, by Sunday, there's going to be even more. So you always got to check back and see what Cool Bet and our books are adding. But speaking of the books, we're already seeing a lot of action on the game already. Maybe tell the folks at home right now where the sharp money is and maybe where the public is kind of leaning right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I hate the term sharp, but I know for sure that the public money is coming in on Kansas City, both spread and money line. It's always going to be that way for the favorite, for the poster boy of the NFL right now, Patrick Mahomes. Yep. But we're seeing a lot of the bigger bets coming in on Tampa Bay. So whether that's sharp money or people with more money than they know what to do with, you can be the judge. But yeah, we're seeing the bigger money line tickets coming in on Tampa Bay. Not so much on Tampa Bay's spread, which is interesting, but more so we're seeing Tampa Bay money line bets. But so more money on Tampa Bay's money line, more tickets on Tampa Bay's spread and money line. Or excuse me, I ruined that. Kansas City spread and money line, more tickets.
Interesting, definitely interesting for sure. Like you said, a lot of storylines go into that, and I do truly think that a lot of the reason why maybe we're seeing some money line bets come in on the Bucs is because it's Tom Brady. Everyone seems to think, it's Tom Brady. He's got to get it done. He doesn't lose in Super Bowls, but we'll have to wait and see till the big game on Sunday. But let's get right into things. Let's start with our best bets, whether that means the spread, the over, the under. We'll go to the props in a little bit because I know everyone loves props on Super Bowl Sunday, whether you're betting on the coin toss or over-under on catches or anything of that nature. But let's go with the game itself. So, Kris, is there anything that you're leaning so far in terms of spread?
Yeah, I think if I was going to just bet the spread, Kansas City at an even field goal seems to make sense. But I think Tampa Bay does have a chance to cover. I think Tampa Bay has a chance to win this game. So I also think the under is in play at 56. So when I think both of those things could happen, that means it's a good idea to tease the underdog and tease the total up a bit. So I'm going to say my best bet for the Super Bowl is going to be Tampa +9, under 62 teaser. I think the defense is underrated coming into this game. I think these teams are better on the defensive side of the ball than anyone gives them credit for. Super Bowls, especially with Tom Brady, we've seen start with a low number of points in the first quarter. So I think Tampa +9, under 62 is a real good way to approach the Super Bowl, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and one thing that we always have to keep in mind as well, unless it's in a dome, of course, but as we know, it's in Tampa Bay, Raymond James. There's no roof on the boat down in Tampa, and there is some reports when you look at the forecast, 60% rain last time I checked. But as you know, Kris, it's not necessarily just the rain. It's more the wind is something that you should also take into account when maybe looking at the total. So obviously keep your eye on it. Weather changes all the time, but I do agree with you. I do think both these defenses are very underrated, and that might be a little bit of a spoiler alert to one of our picks later on. But for me, if I had to go with a pick, I would be leaning Kansas City at -3. A lot of the heavy money right now coming in on the Bucks. I know I'm a dumb better as well. I saw that stat that the team that wears the white jersey, that it's their record in the last 15 years is ridiculous. So that scared me right there. But when it comes down to it, yes, Kansas City, they definitely struggled to cover the spread this year. But I think what we saw in the last 3 quarters against the Buffalo Bills there, I really think that's Kansas City flipping on the switch, saying, all right, we're finally here. We're ready to go. And I think we're going to see more of that in the Super Bowl. I don't know if we're going to see it right from the hop, because I do agree with you. I think it's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process in that first quarter. But I just can't really go against this offense of Kansas City. And as we both mentioned, the defense very underrated for the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a terrible play. I think getting the favorite at a field goal is good. Like, if you think they're going to win the game, which obviously they're a money line favorite, then they're most likely going to win by 3 or more. So I don't think that's a terrible play. My reasoning for being on the Bucks is I do think that there is a chance they win this game outright. So if I can get them at better than a touchdown, I'm sure going to take it. So it's shaping up to be an exciting game. I mean, the jersey color thing, you've got maybe some subconscious there with the officials. Maybe white is the color of good and dark the color of evil. Maybe the team wearing white gets a little bit of extra love, or they seem like they're the team to root for the officials, even subconsciously. I do know that in hockey, they often say that the team wearing the darker colored uniforms looks bigger and takes more penalties. So I don't know if that could be something to translate in this.
Maybe, or in white, you look fast, Booby Miles, right? He says white is fast. So last 16 Super Bowls, I pulled it up here, 13-3 straight up is the team wearing the white jersey. So pretty ridiculous. But as you know, when it comes to the Super Bowl, props. That's what it's all about. Yes, the spread, the over-under, those are heavy action that we see all the time as well. But the real fun thing in the Super Bowl, you get your squares, you've got all your appetizers, your finger foods, and then you go log on to coolbet.com and just start hammering away some props. So let's get things going here, Kris. Give me maybe let's go with your 2 best props for Sunday.
My 2 best? Well, I don't know if they're my 2 best, but they're 2 that I think have a really good chance to hit. The first one is Tom Brady to throw an interception at -147. It's more steam than I like to lay, for sure. It's a little bit juicy, but he threw 2 interceptions the last time these teams met. The Kansas City defense is averaging 1.1 takeaways via interception per game. The other thing I think with this, it's not unlikely that Kansas City gets out to a big lead and then Tampa's going to have to throw the ball some more, maybe force some plays on 3rd and 4th down, which leave them open to being intercepted as well. So I'm a big fan of Tom Brady to throw an interception, and the official Madden simulation actually included a Tom Brady interception as well. So I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed to happen.
It's a lot.
At the same time, I like Patrick Mahomes at +140 to throw an interception. He threw a lot down the stretch this year, and we've seen from Patrick Mahomes obviously some breathtaking passes and where he goes back against his body, and he's gotten away with it for the most part. But teams kind of are wise to that, and they know to be ready for him throwing back across the field. So at +140 with the way this Tampa Bay defense has played in the last few weeks, I think that's also a pretty good prop to take.
I don't have the numbers in front of me as well, but I do know that his completion percentage drops significantly when there is pressure on him. And what we've seen from the Bucs defense in the last few games, boy, I think they're going to definitely get some pressure on Patrick Mahomes as well. So Those are two great picks as well. I think that's one thing that you've been dialed in on this year. I've been following a few times those pick parlays. So you've got the hot hand with knowing which quarterbacks are going to throw the picks and which not. So you know what? I like those two there. I might sprinkle a little bit on Mahomes there. A little bit too juicy for me for the Brady, but we'll go. I will say my top two props right now, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid for playoff Lenny. My two favorite ones right now, over 46.5 rushing yards. Every single playoff game that he's played so far in his 6 games, he's rushed for over 55 yards. So I think he's going to do it again. I think a part of the game plan for the Buccaneers is trying to keep the ball out of this explosive Kansas City Chiefs hands as much as possible. So I think the more you run the ball, the more you hand it to Leonard Fournette. I think that's going to help them out. And I know you've been a big proponent of him emerging as an X factor here. So I believe was it our first playoff game? I think you predicted for him to score a touchdown, and he ended up having quite the big game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he and Antonio Brown just, the found money that Tampa didn't have to give anything up to get. That same game, Brown left with the lower body injury. But Leonard Fournette's been very, very reliable, and he's gotten well more of the share than Ronald Jones down the stretch. So I have no trouble with that play at all. And the reasoning is good as well. I mean, he's likely to be the lead back, and also the fact that teams who have had success against Kansas City have done it by keeping Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. So very interested to see what the game plan looks like for Tampa come Sunday evening.
Well, sticking on the playoff Lenny train here, I also am going to sprinkle a little bit on the first touchdown of the game at plus 1,100. I'll also probably sprinkle a little bit on him for an anytime touchdown as well. So I'm all in on playoff Lenny. If he doesn't have a good game, I am going to be chasing a Pac-12 or a Pac-12 basketball game later on Sunday night. So Chris, let's move to your next prop. What do you like here?
It was. This one was brought to my attention by Ben Ennis from Good Show when we chatted on Friday morning, and he's got a defensive player to win MVP of the Super Bowl at 10-1, plus 1,000. I thought this was phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I mean, obviously the favorite is going to be a quarterback or maybe even a wide receiver to be the most valuable player of the game, but if Kansas City wins this game, Patrick Mahomes is likely to be the MVP. I don't think either of us would be shocked to see that, and that's why I think quarterback is like minus 303. But if Tampa Bay wins this game, it's going to be because their defense, which has come up huge down the stretch, has another big game. And I think at 10-1, for a team that's like a plus 150 underdog here, if the game script is for their defense to be outstanding, to get an MVP at 10-1, I think is quite reasonable. And Devin White's been outstanding since coming back. You've got the two big guys inside, and Ndamukong Suh and Jason Pierre-Paul, as well as the rest of the beef up front there. So I'm I wouldn't hesitate to lay a little bit on this bet at all.
Well, on that there, I think I'm going to ride with you as well. I also heard that on the Good Show today as well. I love it. I think that's a great pick. I think you're totally right. If KC wins, there's, like you said, there's a good chance it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. So the likelihood of a Tyrann Mathieu winning a defensive player, it's not there. So if you're going to take a flyer here, it's 10-1. Like you said, throw $10 on it. There's a good chance maybe one of these, like you said, JPP, Levante David, Shaquille Barrett, one of these guys have a huge standout game and shut down this high-powered offense. And then you're sitting there and you see, 10-1, it was worth a flyer. So I'm going to go with you on that one for that as well. And then let's go to, since I picked the same one as you, it was a little bit of a cheap way out. Let's go to your next prop, what you like.
Yeah, absolutely. When you mentioned Tyrann Mathieu there, I think him to get an interception at plus 400 is not
Yes.
crazy either. That's a bet that I like. But this one, I again, this one stems from the good show as well. I think it was one of JD's bets, but it was Gronk to get over 2.5 catches, and that's at minus 110. So listen, we all know that Tom Brady trusts Rob Gronkowski more than anyone. He's been to this dance with him more than anyone. If it comes down to it that he needs a play, he's going to go to Gronk. So I like the catches prop. I like Gronk's touchdown prop as well. And it's one of these things where you might see a lot of plays over the middle to start. If Kansas City's not rushing and they're taking away Godwin and they're taking away Evans on the outside, it's going to be really easy for Tom Brady to check down and hit Gronk over the middle with a little slant or a little crossing route. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. Also, when you get into the red zone, Gronk is bound to be a target if they're inside the 5. So, I just think, for him to get over 2.5 catches makes a lot of sense at that number.
Yeah, and I think with the emergence of Cam Brate as well, I think Gronk has been able to go into a role where he's been focused more as a blocker and maybe only picks up 1 or 2 receptions in a game. But like you said, this is a big game. This is a Super Bowl, right? You have guys that have been there in Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. So at the start of the game, I think Brady's going to be looking to Gronk because he knows he can trust him. Whereas some of these other guys, it's the first time they're under these bright lights. So I think that's definitely a great play. I think that I would even still consider maybe sprinkling in a anytime touchdown from Cameron Brate as well too. I really do think the checkdowns for the running backs are going to be there, and I also think, like you said, hitting the tight ends in the middle of the field. I think that's the way that Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are going to want to chew away at this defense of the Chiefs. So next up, we'll go to my fourth prop. And it is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers 4th down conversion right now. Just one. All you need is one at minus 130. A little more juicy than I would like, but they're 2 for 2 right now in the postseason, and they're one of the best short yardage running teams. And KC has kind of struggled to stop the run in short yard situations. You gave Ben Ennis a shout out for one of your props. I'm giving him a shout out here. At the end of the show, I think he threw this one out and it caught my eye. So I think I'm going to go with this one as well.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's good as well. I bet Ben dug out some good props for the show. I was actually really impressed by what he came with. And I mean, I'm gonna jump on a lot of them. JD and I are usually the degens, and Ben's usually the voice of reason, but he's right in the weeds with the rest of us here this week. So
you guys have rubbed off on him for sure.
For me, I'm gonna go back to turnovers here, and I've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire to lose a fumble at plus 900. We've seen him put the ball on the ground plenty this year. It's a big spot, bright lights for a rookie running back who, at the beginning of the year, he looked like he was going to be maybe the offensive rookie of the year, but he came back to earth pretty quickly. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he puts the ball on the ground, and at 9-1, I'm willing to take that risk. And another guy is Mecole Hardman at 15-1 to lose a fumble. He's their kick returner. We've seen him just as recently as last game lose a kick that was recovered. So he's also, he lost 3 fumbles this season, which was the highest on their team. So if anyone's going to do it, it should be him. So I'm gonna make that play.
Don't hate those either as well, and especially at plus 900, a couple bucks here and there. That's what the Super Bowl is all about, right? Just sprinkling them out there. So for my next prop, I'm going to go with Travis Kelce over 98.5 yards. And you're getting that at plus money, which seems crazy to me, just considering I think he is going to have a huge game. He's averaging right now 114 yards since week 8. he's already done that 8 times. He's already had that, and 9 if you include him hitting the number 98 right on the nose. So I think, as I mentioned, I think that the tight ends for the Buccaneers can have a big game. I think it's the exact same thing here with Kansas City and with Travis Kelce. What we've seen out of him in the last few weeks, and I mean, as I just mentioned, dating back to week 8, he's been lights out. He's been on another level. I think he probably also wants to prove to a guy across the field from him, Rob Gronkowski, who's considered the greatest tight end of all time, that he is in that conversation as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a huge game out of Kelce.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I don't have the number in front of me, but Kelce for MVP isn't out of the question here either. I mean, I could see him, catching a couple of touchdowns. I could see him with a couple of huge receptions and runs for first downs. At a key moment, especially if this ends up being a closer, lower scoring game. He seems to be always Mr. Dependable there. So. If he got up over 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns, he could certainly be in the running for game MVP. I mean, he's just a beast when he's on. He's absolutely a special player to watch. So, I like that for sure.
Just looking at the number right now at coolbet.com, you can get him at plus 900. So outside of the 2 quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes at plus 100, Tom Brady at plus 240, he's the next best option. And the fact that you're almost getting him at 10, you're getting him 9-1. I mean, that's pretty good odds, considering, he's the only the next non-quarterback option there. So especially if you're going to go defensive player as well, do you take those two props there, and you're just hoping one of these quarterbacks don't have a huge game?
Yeah, I think, I didn't realize he was that far. I mean, I would have thought 5 or 6 to 1, right? So if you put a bet on Kelce MVP, you put a bet on defensive player MVP. I mean, you'd be cheering for Brady and Mahomes to have bad games, but I want that anyway because I want the under and I want Tampa Bay to keep it close. So
there you go.
It certainly fits my narrative, that's for sure. That's good. That's a great number.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lock that in as soon as this show ends, because I really like that one. So thank you for pointing that one out, Kris. So we've talked enough football. Let's talk about everything else that surrounds this Super Bowl. This honestly, and I love football. I love watching the game. It's one of my favorite things. But one of my favorite things is to dive into these bets that have absolutely nothing with the outcome of the game. I like sweating it out before the game even starts with the anthem. So let's start here with some of the special props, which I got to give a big shout out to our bookmakers who have had some awesome prop bets in our specials category. So Kris, have you had a chance to take a look and see maybe is there a couple of special props that you like here?
Yeah, well, you talk about the anthem. I mean, it's always great to be up money before the game even starts. So that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to go over 1:57 on the anthem at minus 139. Couple of reasons for this. At other books, it's at 1 minute, 1 minute and 59 seconds. We've got it at 1 minute and 57 seconds. So we're already gaining a couple of important ticks on the clock there. The other thing is the anthem is going to be a duet. And it's one thing to have a singular person get in the rhythm and kind of motor through the song. But if you're having a duet and presumably they're going to go back and forth between verses, there has to be some sort of, bridge to go from one to the other. So that's going to take time. Of course, everyone's going to want their spotlight when it comes to the anthem. So, you're only asking for a minute each from these people. So I think the duet certainly helps. So I'm in on the over at minus 139 here.
Yeah, earlier this week, I was talking about how I was on the under just based on Jasmine Sullivan. I looked up a couple of her anthems, and she was really, really under. But then you bring up the point, yes, it's a duet. And the fact that Eric Church, who's performing with her, has never sung the anthem in a public setting before. So that's an absolute wild card. And like you said, at the start of the week, it was at 2 minutes. Now it's down to 1:57. So that's only here at Coolbet I've seen that they have it. So I'm going to go with you. I think it's going to go over. I like that. One of my other props that I really like, and I hate always going with the favorite here, but I'm going with the orange Gatorade bath at plus 130. It's the most common that's happened. There have been Patriots Super Bowls that have had orange as well. So maybe Gronkowski and Brady enjoy there's no way that Tom Brady actually drinks Gatorade, but maybe Gronk likes the orange. So maybe their bucket will be filled up. But yeah, I'm going to go with the favorite on that one. And I'll sprinkle a little bit for orange on plus 130.
I usually stay away from the Gatorade prop because it's too much of a wild card for me. I'm going to go with one that's tried, tested, and true for me, and that is that tails never fails. Even money on the coin toss at Cool Bet, no juice to take it. So legit coin toss odds on the coin toss. Anytime I've ever taken a coin toss for anything in my life, I've always gone with tails. So I'm riding with tails again here. Same when I go to the roulette table, I always play even numbers. I play black numbers. I always go tails on the coin toss.
Tails never fails. It never fails. So I'm going with you that as well. I think that's really cool also at Cool Bet how it's at even money. I think that's awesome. That's a great way to start as well. Like you said, you got the anthem, you got the coin toss. So either you're up big or you're sweating it out and you're going to really need to have a solid game. So I think those we covered a lot. Kris, is there anything else maybe that we didn't touch on that you're looking at that maybe some of the viewers here should be taking a look at Cool Bet?
Yeah, I think there's still like 640 markets that we haven't touched on yet. So, I mean, there's over-unders for just about everybody and everything in this game.
Yeah.
Touchdown scores, interception, individual, guys to get the actual interception. So, yeah, there's so much. There's nothing that I really want to get into, but I'm going to stick with these picks, and I'll probably have a few more before kickoff.
One thing that I forgot to mention, and we did tweet it out earlier, so you can go to our Twitter at CoolBet Canada. If you're obviously watching here on Twitter, you're already here. But if you are tuning in on YouTube, head over our Twitter. You can take a look. We have been tweeting out props all week long. The one that is interesting for me is, will one field goal or a point attempt after hit the crossbar or the post? Yes is plus 360. Plus 360 for a doink. If it's windy and rainy, both these kickers, I mean, they have been inconsistent this year. That's something that I'd consider sprinkling for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to miss. Like, it can hit the post and go in. Yeah, so, exactly. I mean, based on the year it's been for kickers, like, why not? Like, I think that's excellent. And then when you were talking about that actually jogged another prop that I had thought about really early in the week, and that was plus 140 for there to be a roughing the passer call. I mean, They love to protect Tom Brady, and if he needs 15 yards late, that's a real easy way to give it to him.
Absolutely. Well, that's a perfect way to end off our Super Bowl 50 preview show. For everyone at Cool Bet Canada, we want to thank you for tuning in. Remember, you can bet all these props and much, much more for Super Bowl 55 at coolbet.com. If you are not a member with Cool Bet Canada as well, check out us and you can see the great deposit that we can fill in. And also, Kris, before we do get going, we'll quickly talk about one of the live boosters that we have going on right now. Can you maybe fill in some folks on that?
Yeah, it's actually super easy. If you place a live bet during the Super Bowl, you can get 25% extra added to your potential winnings just by making a live bet during the Super Bowl. I mean, what else do you want? Wait for KC to get down and live bet them on the money line. You'll get an extra 25%. Simple, simple, simple.
There you go. Simple as that. So I'm Pat Gregoire, joined by Kris Abbott. As always, we want to thank you for tuning in. And as always as well, stay cool.